There's always more. There's always something new, higher, bigger, better, more expensive. Once you have what you initially wanted, you then have to be careful that you don't become blasé about it, or that, you know, it just becomes normal. A very good morning yet again from Gran Canaria. This is the last day on the island, unfortunately, so I'm going to get one last ride in, nothing too crazy, but a little bit of extra TSS to wrap off the week in fine style. It has been good to very good, and I'm going to spend today appreciating this place and this ride to the fullest, and appreciating the opportunities that I have to be able to do this. So let's go and get some extra climbing in. Already made it out of Maspalomas and climbing again, and I'm not gonna lie to you, my legs are not feeling well. I can feel the load of the past days, and yeah, ooh, this is probably the most fatigued I've been in a very long time. But the goal is to push on, add a bit of extra TSS on top tomorrow, flying back, and then time to let the body recover and hopefully create some adaptations. Looking back at the race that I've just done, safe to say that the first stage was absolutely full gas for me, trying to hang on with the front group on 2 occasions on the flat slash false flat. Really, I'm not gonna say hurt me, but yeah, was something a little bit above my pay grade at this point in the season, and honestly at this point in my Fondo career as well. Like, I knew this was all about training this week, not really about performance, but all in all, given the fatigue, still quite happy with how I did perform, although I faded maybe a little bit more than I would have wanted to, but at least that gives me an indication of what I need to do in terms of work the coming months ahead. Trying to get my heart rate under control, easier said than done. I think the day is not going to be much more than a 2-hour ride, because more than that will probably really, you know, be on the verge of overtraining. So as I'm still climbing, let me take a minute to appreciate this very moment. The fact that I'm able to do this, the fact that I'm able to stick to family on an airplane and come here for a week to ride my bike whilst being in semi-work mode. I know that's something that I am very fortunate to be able to do. But while I say very fortunate, I did create that fortune to a large extent, dare I say that. Because when I was quite a bit younger, one of the clearest goals I've ever had was to be able to have a certain level of freedom, to be able to do these things. And I knew that to be able to do that, I needed to create a life that would allow me to harness that freedom. And so that's why I started the business that was location independent, and that now has grown to a point where it has given me, you know, certain means financially and others to be able to do that, jump on this plane, but also to be able to just keep work going whilst out here. But even though I did create that myself together with my wife, I do make a very conscious decision to stop and appreciate that from time to time. And what better place to do that than here on the bike. I remember my wife and I rented a smallish apartment in the early days of our business, and I used to wake up every morning around 3-4 a.m. to work with the Australian time zones, because that's where some of our initial clients were. And as they say, beggars can't be choosers. I just kind of did what needed to be done, clocking in days of 12-13 hours just to be able to, yeah, get that initial bit of momentum. And while I was doing that, I was envisioning a future like the one I'm living right now. And it was never about having truckloads of cash, buying stuff that would end up being in my cupboard. No, it was about experiences. But I knew that to some extent I needed to create a financial reality that would allow me to do or to experience those very experiences. So that was always really front and center when I was doing what I did back then in those earlier stages of our business. So that's why I make a point of it to very consciously remind myself of that fortune, but also remind myself of the fact that I did have a lot to do with it to create it, so that if I want more and new things, I gotta get my arse into gear. Now, there's a flip side to that as well, which is that, you know, there's always more. There's always something new, higher, bigger, better, more expensive, what have you. And so once you have what you initially wanted, you then have to be careful that you don't become blasé about it, or that, you know, it just becomes normal. And that's why these rides of appreciation, as this one is today, help me such a great deal. Even if my legs are absolutely screaming at me, telling me that it's about time to give them a break. Almost. Good evening, my friends. For a final time here from Gran Canaria, I wanted to wrap the video and the entire week one last time. Final conclusion is super positive. I essentially got done what I wanted to get done, which was putting on a solid layer of fitness on top of what I already had before I flew out here. So the riding was absolutely amazing this week. I had a couple of really good training sessions. The race was enormous amounts of fun as well. My performance was okay for this time of the year, quite happy with how I did, given the fact that I was riding with relatively tired legs. So we'll definitely be putting that one in the bank as a good one. Not massively looking forward to going back to 10 degrees and overcast and rain at times. But hey, we got to get back to what we have to do. Thank you very much, as always, for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, perhaps give it a like. That would be very much appreciated. If you like the stuff on the channel, then subscribe. That would also be very kind of you, and then you will be kept informed whenever I release a new video. Stay safe, stay healthy, enjoy what you're doing, super important, and then I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.